Hello, this is the final section for the check test and part 3 quick videos on lesson planning. Was the lesson plan adapted when appropriate to help the pupil work towards their learning goals? This is one of the biggest reasons I see instructors fail and causes a huge amount of confusion for instructors. Let's give you an example to start off with. You've given the pupil the scenario, we are going to work on consolidate roundabouts. On the way to consolidating roundabouts, your pupil has a weak clutch. There are problems with the clutch. What do you now do? Now, I've seen many instructors just think, well, they carry on and they talk about the clutch and they just carry on doing it. Oh, be careful with the clutch, steady with the clutch, but they continue on with the roundabout scenario. As we get to the roundabout, what is the pupil thinking about? The clutch. Now we're expecting to not only deal with the clutch, but we're also expecting to deal with the roundabout, etc. And you know, roundabouts are complex things. They take a lot for your learner to think about, and they don't want to be. So what should happen? You need to change the plan. Forget about the roundabouts for a moment and take them out of the scenario. Go, right, okay, look, I'm seeing we're having issues with the clutch. Should we pop to somewhere quiet, pop round the corner, and let's see if we can work out this clutch problem, etc., and get the clutch sorted. So when they come to the roundabouts, they're not worrying about what their feet are doing, etc. They can actually deal with the clutch. I don't know why, but instructors seem almost scared to do this. And I think there's an element of, well, I've told the examiner on a part 3 test or a check test, standards check, I've told the examiner we're going to do roundabouts, so I've got to do roundabouts, because if I don't do roundabouts, they'll fail me. No, you know, it doesn't even matter if you never get on and do the roundabouts. It doesn't matter. You need to change the plan. Another scenario, again, quite similar. Again, we were doing lane discipline, and we approached a roundabout with the learner. I'm sitting in the back of a car, and this pupil was struggling, really clearly struggling with the cars that were coming onto this very busy, very complicated double roundabout system. And we progressed on, and there was a lot of help given for the situation, but we went on, and the second roundabout, again, we continued on with the original plan. They were going to deal with lane discipline, etc. And I remember the comment was, oh, well, we'll deal with that later. And about 20 minutes later, we pull over into a car park, and some lip service was given to that. You know, we were talking about, you know, the roundabout, etc. And they were going to continue to do it on the next lesson, which would have happened, no doubt about it. You know, it would have happened. But let's look at it from an examiner's point of view, or even from the pupil's point of view. That pupil went home, the examiner went home, people went home not knowing that that fault was repaired. It was still there. So a better scenario to me would have been to have, you know, basically said, well, let's forget what we're doing. Let's go on right at the roundabout and heading off to another area. Let's talk about the roundabout, and we could have gone in and out and sorted the roundabout. Fix what's here now. Fix what's here. Look at it from the learner's point of view. The learner is going to go home tonight knowing that they've now done that roundabout. They're not going to wait a whole week thinking, oh, that roundabout again, oh, we've got to do that roundabout, you know. So they've been confident there. It would also have given them confidence for the lane discipline and the other things that we're doing later on, because again, they've achieved something. Let's look at it from the examiner's point of view. The examiner would have seen a fault identified, analysed, and then remedied. The examiner would have seen all the elements of that, and they would have seen the fault go away. Now, you know, an examiner would see this and think, well, you know, I'm not even, if you can deal with that fault correctly, then you can deal with all faults correctly. Often examiners, all they see maybe the identification part, and they see a bit of analysis, but they never see the final bit, because instructors are going, oh, well, I'm going to deal with that next lesson. You know, so deal with it each lesson. So it's good for the learner, it's good for the examiner, it's good for you as well, you know, because your learners are thinking, right, we're ticking these faults off, you know, nobody wants to leave it. If you discover a pipe leaking in your house, when are you going to repair it? Yes. Oh, look, there's a pipe leaking. I'll sort that out next week. You need to sort it out now, you know. Oh, the boiler's not working. Well, I'm going to keep repairing the boiler, but the pipe's leaking. The boiler's not working because the pipe's leaking. But we keep trying to repair the boiler, or so and so, you know. So it's really crucial. The lesson plan must be adapted to work towards the learning goals, and don't be afraid to change the goals. It is, okay, I reiterate, it's one of the biggest failures of tests I see. Pupils, instructors just don't seem to want to change the plan, and it could be changed many and several times. The thing to remember is fix what you see. Fix it now, all right? Get rid of it and get it out of the way. Don't leave anything till next lesson, etc. Try to achieve one goal at a time. There is no point in doing a roundabout or a junction or a maneuver if sub-skills aren't up to standard. So back. Well, a very short one really, I think, on what's really quite an important message really to change the lesson plan. But it is quite a simple message. Do not be afraid to change the lesson. If you see something go wrong, deal with it here, deal with it now. Don't put off today what you can do today, tomorrow. Deal with it now and get it sorted. Learners don't want to move on to other subjects when they've still got issues with others, etc. It's a bit like building a brick wall. I often show the scenario. If you've got one of the bricks lower down a bit dislodged, what does the rest of the wall look like? You cannot build the rest of the wall when the substandard or the courses below are crooked. You won't get a straight wall. So when the wall's built nice and square, where each course here is nice and square, then you end up with a good structure and a solid foundation. So each course has to have a solid foundation underneath it before you move up to the next and keep going. And I'm hoping this analogy is going to help you. That's all then. So happy teaching, and we're now going to move into the next section of this series on the risk management side of things. Happy teaching. Speak to you all soon then. Bye bye.